Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are sitting down with Gabrielle Walsh, star of the hit NBC show Found. We're going to talk about her career lows and career highs. Tune in. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Paul Tully with the FYI Podcast. We got the incredibly talented Gabrielle Walsh in the house. This is the second time she's been on the podcast. I'm so excited. You know her. She's on the hit show Found on NBC, but she's also a dear friend. I love her. Gabby, thank you for coming on.
I love you too, Paul. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's so exciting, man. The first time we met, did the podcast. I mean, on the first podcast, you had just booked a show and you had went to Atlanta to shoot, but we couldn't really talk too much. Everything hadn't aired yet.
We had many secrets. There were many secrets yet to be told, so I couldn't really talk that much, or I didn't know what I could and could not talk about. But now we're into the second season, about to air the 9th episode. So I think tonight, or
well,
whatever
when you see this,
airs.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You already know. So, I mean, a lot has happened, and a lot has happened with you as well. Congratulations on your new space.
Thank you.
All the amazing guests that you've been having.
It's been incredible. The team is, it's been something I didn't foresee in my life, or it's just God puts things in our path, and the team's great. Everybody's dedicated, and we've been working really hard on this podcast. So it's been fun, man. I'm enjoying it. You know, I hope the people are enjoying it.
Yeah. Cheers to the both of us.
Yes. Okay, I have questions. I mean, I'm so excited for you. Always have been a fan of yours. Got to work with you before, and what is it like? I mean, this is your first series regular. This is a big deal for any actor. I mean, getting a show and being a regular, I mean, it's amazing.
The dream. You're like, yes, finally. I don't have to go from paycheck to paycheck or hope these residuals are going to come in and, I'm able to survive rent. It's so interesting how long that journey is or can be, or how short it can be. That's the weird thing about this career. You don't know when exactly your time is, but I'm so thankful and so blessed to be able to make a living off of what I do and then some. Like my daughter, now we spoke about my daughter last time. She's 19 years old, and since we spoken, she's graduated high school. She went to college for a little bit and is now looking for a new school. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like now I can be able to provide, financial support to my daughter's college education, know, like it's a huge thing coming from so many years of just auditioning and working on shows for a short period of time, and that sort of up and down struggle of, are you going to have a job? Is this going to be consistent, to having something that is not only consistent, but like we got season 2 pick up for 22 episodes.
Nice.
So now I will have shot the math. Yeah. 35 episodes of one show, one character consistently.
Wow.
Which it's still crazy to me. I'm still like, kind of processing and decompressing from, like all that work, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. It's a challenge too.
32 episodes, 35 episodes. I was trying to do the math in my head to see if
22,
I
13,
could afford a
35.
1-carat ring, because you're definitely making some money, and now I look at you different. No, dude.
Has the carat gone up?
Dude, I can't go higher than that, guy.
Has the carat gone up?
35 episodes.
I was actually looking at like diamonds and what they call and how they like price them. It's so interesting to me.
I worked in diamonds for 6 years.
You did?
Yeah, in real life.
Wait, where?
I worked at it was a retail jewelry store, but we got to go through like training.
In LA?
Yeah, here in LA when I got out of the military, before I got into acting. Like, I was working at a retail jewelry store.
You were a jeweler?
Yeah. I thought for
jeweler.
a minute I might get into just being a jeweler, and I'm good in sales, and But yeah, and then I started taking acting classes, and just to get my money from the GI Bill. That's how I got introduced to a Girgis play.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
and you were
set
like,
it off.
I love this, and this is, another different type of struggle that I know.
Yeah.
that
I think I was too ignorant to know how difficult. It was just like, hey, I'm enjoying this. I'm 30 years old. I enjoy it, and I've spent enough time serving and that's it.
There's something beautiful about not knowing what the struggle is going to be and being sort of ignorant to what that journey is. That ignorance kind of allows you to just leap and do, which is what you need for this career, and to just keep going, like continually having that hope and putting yourself out there and taking that leap into doing something new and pushing yourself forward.
Agreed. When I talk to people about acting, I mean, like I said, I haven't had the big break, but when I talk to people, I used to think people who quit, like when I'd see people wrap it up and quit and start a new life, I'd be like, I'd be like, oh, they quit. But it's like, no, the problem is, I think if you're too aware, I think it takes a little bit of what you just said, a little bit of like ignorance, or because the tenacity that it takes to continue in this industry, not making money. Like when we met, we're driving Lyft. We're driving, if you don't mind me saying, I think you were doing Postmates.
I was doing everything.
And we were doing.
Not everything, but I was working.
Yeah, and it's like me too. I was driving Lyft, and we were doing plays for free, but we loved what we did. But sometimes I think it takes a little bit of. Takes a lot of dreaming, but a little bit of ignorance of like, no, I'm going to make it. I think my chance is coming. Where some people, I think, just give up because it's not that they're dumb, or they just go, dude, it's not happening. And they start a new path, and that's okay.
Or they're like, it's not, maybe, for them at a certain point, it's just not like worth it. The input isn't worth, the output isn't worth the input at this point.
Right.
And I think that's okay. And I think that's okay to like realize like that, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or this not working for me. It's just something that you have to, after a certain point, that you have to give it more of that push to get there, that it's not this kind of linear trajectory of everything else. And so you have to put in an extra like 10 feet, an extra like 10,000 hours of like work, or 10,000, but like, what I mean? Like you have to put in that extra amount, because it's just, A to B doesn't equal C.
Yeah.
My dad, he started, before he passed, he started a music production company.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yes, well, an entertainment company, and I took on the name Touch of Blarney Entertainment, like as my own, LLC once he, passed. But he got into producing this Irish folk album. And he put a lot of money into it. He hired all these like musicians, and he made an album. He did it. He made an Irish folk album. And I said, I have to figure out how to get it back up on Apple Music. I don't know how to do that. But anyways, he was so pissed that it wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, this is it. This is now he started to get like what this was, that the work that you put into something doesn't actually always
manifest
output,
to,
or it doesn't always manifest on your timeline, on your time frame, and then you figure out sort of where you want to go. If you do want to persist within this struggle, can you be able to, not go from ignorance to changing and shifting your perspective and your outlook on what you're doing? Can your input, or the thing that you get, the reward from it, be the work itself? And that's how we ended up doing, like plays for free.
Yeah.
Because we're not seeing any money from this. Even in producing the plays, you're not really seeing any money. Hopefully you make your money back.
Maybe.
But like something that is feeding the soul. And I think that if you can't find that, or equate that, or shift your perspective into seeing that you are feeding your soul, and maybe not actually like feeding your play, but you're feeding your soul, that you can keep up with this and push on until that hopefully becomes the case.
Right.
Or, or you're able to like still do what you love and have that different income or supplemental income because you still love this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you have to love it even when it doesn't necessarily love you back.
One thing that I admire about you, I don't even know if I've ever told you, but I genuinely admire about you is that you constantly are doing the work. Like, you're still in classes. You're still, like, right? You're still training. Like, you're still in acting class. And
it drives me nuts.
But there's so many actors I know that are series regulars and that aren't. That are just like, they found a need. They're getting paid. And it's like, that's how you know, like I think it's like Pacino. He still does plays, and like when he had Oscars and he's doing plays in Central Park and still was taking classes and vocals, and you're like, dude, your name's enough already, dude. Like, he's top of the call sheet, like any film, but it's
that's not what
what it's about.
Yeah, it's not
and
what it's about.
I know that's true with you. That's what I admire, and I think I have a touch of that. I don't think I'm where I want to be as far as that the same work ethic is you. Honestly, I need to get better, but I do have the work ethic. But what's crazy is in this business, some people don't, and they're making money, and it's like,
I mean, it's to each his own. You know, my acting teacher, Eric Morris, he's obsessive. He's obsessive with the craft. It's not just about like booking a job. It's about this exploration and how we can take it to that nth edge degree or whatever you want to call it, and go into actually experiencing what the character is experiencing. And I don't have what he has. Like, I love the exploration. It's an exploration of the soul for me, of mine and of these other lives that I feel could be mine, or I'm making mine with playing these characters, and I love that. It fascinates me. People fascinate me. How we think, why we do the things that we do, what this experience would be like. When I was younger, I had actually. I don't know how my dad didn't know this. I don't know if I told you this story, but we had watched the movie Madeline, you know, the little redheaded orphan who was like sort of not Annie, but she was like British and rebellious. And I can't remember all the details of Madeline, but I just wanted to like be her or have some of her experiences. And in the movie, her appendix burst. And she has to get her appendix out. So literally we go through and we watch this movie, the movie ends, and all of a sudden I start creating these stomach pains for myself. I'm like, ah. And my dad's like, what's going on? What's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. It hurts. My stomach hurts. I'm like, we just watched this movie where this girl gets her appendix out. I am now acting out this role so I can get my appendix out like Madeline. Like, this is where I'm at as like a 7-year-old child, you know? But I'm just like, you know, and it takes like an hour or so of this acting commitment for my dad to take me to the emergency room. Only for the doctor. Yes.
They're like, she's fine.
God bless. I wonder if I don't know if I ever told my dad this story.
So funny.
But then the doctor was like, where does it hurt? And I was like, where is the appendix?
Where did Madeline?
I'm like, yes, where did Madeline hurt? I think he knew I was on. And I was like, it hurts here. And I just were like everywhere, right? So he's like, yeah, I think she's constipated. Give her some milk of magnesia. My acting performance there led to the toilet.
Yeah, for 3 days.
But it was just like.
Basically, it was his way of saying she's full of crap.
She's full of crap, and so is her acting here. But I won my dad over in that performance, and so for that,
seed.
I'm very proud. There were many seeds actually, but I think it was like even at that young age, being curious about life, being curious about the human experience and all that it's filled with. And I think, in that, it is it's a difficult journey to explore those things, like what we explored within our play, dealing with addiction, dealing with personal identity, dealing with just drug use.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, I said addiction, but dealing with the matters of the heart
Infidelity
and infidelity and
betrayal and
and what that means to a person and the whys that they do those things. And those things aren't easy too if you're really getting into it, into the meat of it. Experience.
Yeah.
They're hard.
Right.
And we do that for fun or for need.
Yeah.
To expel whatever that truth is from us, to be seen and to have other people be seen in it.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to, in some way, no matter what level of the work that you do, like, have a part of that need.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to segue into, you were a young mother. We talked about on the first episode, first podcast, you know.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Still a young mother. Thank you very much.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Re-edit that. You're a young mother.
Yes. Thank you.
My apologies.
Thank you. Glad you noticed.
You became a mother at a young age, a teenager.
Yes.
So, and you were single mom for a while. You had tragedy. We did talk about on the first,
Yes.
right?
And everybody's journey is different, but mine, and what Paul is speaking about, is in 2019, I lost my daughter's father. He was murdered through gun violence, and then about 3-4 weeks later, my dad died, and on the same day,
Yeah.
I laugh and I carry a sense of humor about it. Not that it's actually funny. I just, it's just
Right.
life is crazy
life.
sometimes, and if you don't find the laughter, you'll end up going crazy.
How does it feel to have achieved, at least, I would say, your dream, but you're still going to achieve even more, but to be at the level of success you're at now and look at your daughter, what does it feel like to know that? Does she know anything's possible? And does she know the hardships that you endured to get to where you are today? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I think it almost happened coincidentally that, through pursuing this tumultuous career and getting the job that, okay, now we can really be able to support ourselves and be comfortable with seeing that through me, made her believe that she can do it, because she's now taking acting classes and wants to pursue a career in the film industry in the many different facets that there are, but knowing and understanding that this isn't something that's so easy coming. She saw, me working in my room for so many hours where, I would be there to take her to school, but then, not, be as attentive sometimes to the work that she, had or needed to do, because she was very independent and, handled it herself, but she understood in some ways that mommy has work and she has work. And so she understood that I was always working and in class and doing these different things, and going through us even getting evicted from our apartment when we were out here in Los Angeles, after I've had, some success, have had, done the Paranormal Activity, Vampire Diaries, Shameless, and had gotten evicted and having to transition from, one home to another to try and find some stability. So she's not a stranger from that, but I think that because I've found myself at this place and she's seen my work ethic, believes that she can, because she does have that within her too. She's always been a hard worker.
Yeah.
She's always been very independent, and I think it takes both of those things to, find success in this career. So I do think that I've affected her in that way from just watching what I did and what we, experienced together at the same time.
I love that. I love that. And you've affected so many more than her. I mean, we talk about you often in the circle and just, not like every day, but you come up many times as a story of success and inspiration for all of us of like, dang, man, because like you're one of us, so it's cool to see like when it happens for somebody that's like in the trenches with you and knowing your background. It's you didn't come from a family of Hollywood and connections, and you came from Chicago and just pursued and worked and had the ethic. So to see you win is a guiding light, I hope for a lot of us. Like even people, if you don't know, if they don't, were watching. And I think that's for everybody out there. It's like, people are always watching, and I think it's important that we carry ourselves. I mean, I try. Don't carry myself always perfect, but we try to carry ourselves in a way of like, people are always watching, and we get inspired by each other. That's what's beautiful about humanity. And but moving forward from that, I wanted to get into what is the work like? That's a question I'm very curious to know. I've never been a series regular. What's the difference from being a guest star on a show, co-star, where you come in for, maybe 2 days and it's important and it's hard work, but what is it like now being a regular and constantly getting pages? And I mean, how difficult is it?
I mean, I would say you've been preparing for it.
Yeah.
You've been preparing for it. We get auditions and then the next day or two, we have to put it up. And we know the type of work that we can do and that we're capable of. Like we've done plays, we've done class, we've taken time with a role and really like sculpted it out. But all that work that you do before then, all that like getting the pages, memorizing them and putting them up to the best of your ability and going with the wings of your experience and talent, like go and fly. And so like I think that the techniques that you learn and use before are going to carry you through whatever that time is, because in the beginning of this season they gave me a lot of meat to chew on as an actor. Like I was like, okay, the beginning half of season 2 was surrounding my character and her backstory. So you got to see Lacey as a little girl and how she dealt with the trauma of her abductor and how her relationship with Gabby, Shanola Hampton's character, formed. And at the same time, my character, present day, had just been kidnapped and now is face to face with her real life boogeyman.
Wow.
And so you get to see her battle that as a child and then now battle it in real time as an adult. And then even the trauma and the dealings that she had to deal with thereafter being, sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't started the second season, escaping. And, rescuing herself from this man who is, eludes us all still to this day, has yet to be caught. Yes, Mark Paul Gosselaar, the perfect, handsome little villain.
Little villain.
But, I where I like to go with the role that I'm working on, like I like to do the work. I like to do the exploration because I want to feel that like on the day when the camera is rolling and I'm there, that I can breathe and explore and experience and see and notice things that I didn't plan out in my bedroom, my living room, wherever I'm working the day before. And so I went in and I worked with my coach on a lot of these things, especially dealing with something like being abducted that I hadn't, dealt with before, but I can use, and I always do use, my life experiences, and I manipulate, heighten, focus on certain parts that are going to bring out the truth of whatever the character is experiencing and what's true for the character.
Yeah.
So the first like month and a half, I was only my character. I had maybe like a couple of scenes, So I would have a couple of days for the episode out of an 8-day shoot. So I'd have like a day or two. So I would have time, but I needed that time.
Yeah, I was just
to
going to say.
decompress from all that I had gone through, and then sort of like calculate and experience and you know, take in what I had experienced, and then input that again into the next time that I was on screen. And that was very, very terrifying for me.
Sure.
Because, well, not just within the experience, but as an actor, you're like, okay, I'm finally getting to do the work on screen that I have been trying to do and auditioning for and putting up on stage, and people see that, and that is great. But now, like, this is like in print, you know, like somewhere, like forever. Like, what is this gonna look like? Am I gonna look foolish? Am I gonna whatever? And I felt like I really got to ground myself in the experience, that I had that sort of like F it, forget it attitude, where I'm just like, you know what, if I'm going to bring truth to this, which always ends up coming up, that I need to focus on the being and not the what I feel like I'm seeing, whether, you know, like the judgment of it all, or the performance of it all, which is very difficult to do. But having that sort of, I think my acting teacher calls it the 11th level of consciousness, or another level of consciousness, where you can be in something but then feel as though that you are experiencing it at the same time. I'm not doing a horrible job. I hope he doesn't watch that part of it. But but having this other level of consciousness, where you are an actor experiencing these things, but you are the character experiencing them at the same time. And on the stage, you know, we can have that through line to doing so. And, you know, this network television found they work fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
You work fast. You get a couple of takes, several maybe, you know, a couple that are like on you, one and one for fun, depending on, you know, the director, depending on the day, depending on what is allotted to us, because time is very, you know, yes, time is everything. Money. Time is money. Time is life. So, you know, and I found out about that a lot this season. But like, so, you know, like going back and reinvesting in what that is, and being on in a way it's a lot of pressure, and it's also, you know, it's exhilarating. It's exhilarating too, but it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of energy.
How many panic attacks have you suffered in the privacy of your own home?
Not as many as I thought I was. I got it out. I got to get it out on screen. That's why. Nice. I got to just have the panic attack there on screen. Yeah. I think, you know what was interesting? I came to this kind of revelation toward the end of the series, because, you know, we worked for 9.5 months straight, you know, Shinola there almost every single day, going home to, she's a mother of two, and so she would go back to LA to be with her kids every weekend. Wow. Every weekend, going to games, participating in whatever school events or things that they had, you know, like she's like a bionic woman. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't have that much energy, but I think it's beautiful, you know, like, but like having to work, not having, but getting to work 5 days out of the week, 14 or so hours out of the day, and, you know, like it's like your time is allotted to your dream, but at the same time, you know, like your personal energy and finding that balance to get back home into you can be trying and difficult. And so, like, since we've wrapped, I've been just like, you know, just just decompressing and wanting to like be on my couch. And I'm like, is this okay? Like, I'm supposed to be like running with a force toward the hills into the shining lights. And what's the next project? But right now I'm just like, wow, that was very stimulating for me, very satisfying, and then also took a lot of energy. So I need to figure out how to get that energy back and how to, you know, within the acrobatics of my own heart, how to balance, you know, that time within pouring out and pouring in, because I feel like I know how to pour in.
Yeah.
Or pour out, sorry.
Yeah.
Pour out
But
to the work a lot, and then, you know, then I don't match it back to myself. And
Right.
so sometimes, you know, the balance gets a little off, and then I go through times where I'm just like, okay, now since I'm off, I'm going to like hole up and sort of just like get back to my own rhythm, but I still have that craving to pour out and do the work. And so like doing the play readings with you, like it's fun for me. And, you know, I think you always have to look at the fun and where you're getting the fun, because sometimes for the beginning half of the season, like I was very creatively stimulated within, you know, what was happening with my character, because she was, you know, a focal point. And then toward the middle of the season, then there's 7 other lead characters, you know, and there's like A storyline and B storyline. A storyline is with the lead and the 2 leads that we have, Sir and Gabby, Chanel and MP, and then there's the B storyline and what's going on with one of the other characters. So I got to have that, and then it switched over to another one of our lead actors who's freaking, I watch her in awe every time, you know, we work together. I think that she's just, Kelly Williams, like I think that she's just amazing in how she portrays Margaret and what her character has to go through. So then I had to sort of deal with and shift being a part and still staying creatively stimulated and creating these stories, and knowing that like, hey, although you don't see all the parts of what's happening with my character, and I do get a little bit of a break from being tortured, that, you know, that there's still so much life that's happening that the audience isn't seeing. And so enjoying the break of that, but still sparking those things and staying focused on that. Maybe I'm not doing as much of the, you know, work that I was doing before and being stretched as much, but I still need to pour in specifically so I don't become a caricature of this character, and I am fully present.
Okay, everybody, this is the end of part 1 of this episode with Gabrielle Walsh. Tune in next week to catch part 2.
You should never stress about the problems you be facing. Everybody in the mud on the struggle trying to make it. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration. I'm finding inspiration, and once I get a hold of it, I'll never get complacent. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration.